We got this from the Post Millennial. Meta removes restrictions on Trump's Facebook and Instagram accounts. Quote, in assessing our responsibility to allow political expression, we believe the American people should be able to hear from the nominees for president on the same basis. Funny. This is just after about a day ago, literally a day ago, Trump threatens to send Meta's Mark Zuckerbucks to prison if reelected president. Surprise, surprise. I wonder if the reason Mark Zuckerberg built that underground bunker in Hawaii was because Trump's pretty mad at him and Trump's going to win, huh?
Yeah, Zuckerberg's in control of an explosive product, metaphorically, of course, but with a lot of potential to change a lot of minds in a moment. So I can see why he has a bunker. Doesn't want to be responsible.
They also know they're losing ad revenue and engagement every time that Trump is on Truth Social, and the only places it's getting reposted are basically 2X via, side accounts. They realize that during election year, they're actually losing money by not having him on. There's no way to lure Trump back onto any of these platforms.
Well,
we need him more than he
when I was
now.
working, I was mainly working with Facebook before Trump's first victory, and it was a powerhouse. I'm telling you, it was the Wild West, and there wasn't a single publisher on the entire internet that was as powerful as we were, and some other conservative, Daily Wire, and I think some other, even the Blaze was a thing then, and we were killing them. Like, we were killing them when it comes to owning the narrative, like on social media. And Facebook was kind of where the game was at that point. Now, where's the game at? It's X, and with younger, maybe TikTok. And I think Facebook has lost a lot of relevance, and so I think this is what you're saying, Anna. Like, they probably miss the engagement, they miss the action, they miss getting our data without our permission.
You're probably right on the TikTok front, and that's something that's factored into European politics as well. It's that Nigel Farage was the most popular politician on TikTok. In the UK, Baudelaire in France has been a runaway success. Apparently, he used to run an anonymous Twitter account posting spicy things. He used to stream Modern Warfare 2. The social media ground game is being played by right-wing politicians and dissident media figures a hell of a lot better. And this could be Zuckerberg trying to avoid jail time. I doubt that. Or this could be Zuckerberg reflecting, hey, I played nice with the intelligence services for years, suppressing the Hunter Biden laptop, or helping out with COVID misinformation efforts with The Atlantic. And now Elon's got a ton of fans. He's pretty profitable, and he's challenging me to a fight. Everyone loves him. Why don't I just pick the winning side?
Yeah. At what point do you just go where the dollars and eyes are? I mean, that really behooves him. To your point, Trump goes to one UFC fight, gets on TikTok, and within 24 hours has several million people following him. I mean, especially this year, but generally Trump is a pretty influential person. It is actually a bad business decision to continue to put him off. And I think the idea that this was like a moral decision and he had done something wrong is obviously, we all know a lie. We know it was politically biased, and they're not going to stick to this fake ethics they seem to be claiming. So they're going to go with the bottom line, which is that they need Trump. They need Trump, and they need the engagement that he brings.
I'd love for Zuck to do this just out of the goodwill. It does suck that Trump came at him and was like, I'm going to throw this guy in jail if he doesn't. But did you see Zuckerberg?
He didn't say it like that,
Okay.
but he kind of did.
Did you see Zuckerberg surfing with the drink on the 4th of July?
Yeah, he was trying to be semi-pink. It's so weird.
He's hilarious.
But he got roasted for that other picture where he's like, and I'm very pale, but he looks like a ghoul when he's on the surfboard. I mean, you and me both. We had never seen sun. Neither had Mark Zuckerberg. People really mocked him for that. It didn't come across as cool at all.
His new facial hair is getting cool. I think he did heavy dose of psychedelics. I can't tell, but he's like a new man. Like, he's like all open source now. Freeing Donald Trump on his platform. Like, this is a good sign.
But does that make you not trust him?
I don't trust
For years,
anyone
he
in
was saying
control of
one
these
thing.
things.
Yeah.
No humans. I don't trust them. We should not be in charge of who gets to say what or what gets seen and what doesn't. It's not righteous. I mean, I guess I understand censorship and you want ethical censorship. Otherwise, you're going to have child porn on every network. So I get that, but I don't trust the people. I just understand the necessary evil of having humans run it right now until we get a machine that can do it better, if we can.
I trust the machines, though.
What got me, Connor, you were saying, is that on these TikTok, you got like Nigel Farage and Jean Bardelot. Is that how you say his name?
Jordan Bardella. Yeah.
Bardello? Jordan Bardello? Bardello? Something like that. And TikTok's a Chinese company. So they're pushing these right-wing characters to try and disrupt the liberal economic order and create a sense of like maybe disparate nationalism.
I don't know how much it is that the algorithm themselves are pushing them, or they're just cutting through the noise because they've got a lot of savvy actors. So I like to compare two groups of Gen Z who know how to use social media, right? The ones that just follow algorithmic trends presented in front of them are like the children of the algorithm. They've had digital babysitters. They are plugged into what my friend Mary Harrington calls the omnicores. They derive all of their political opinions from their social media feeds, even if it doesn't make sense. This is why Greta Thunberg is marching for Palestine. None of these things are coherent, but they are collaborated in front of them by an outside force. And then you have sort of reactionary types that grew up on the internet, know how to use the technology ergonomically, and are using it for their own ends and are cutting against social trends. But because they're just frankly smarter and funnier and more innovative than the rest of them, they're able to push the politicians they like to the top despite censorship attempts and the like. So I think that's the reason. I don't think it's that China's actively pushing Trump or Bardella or Farage. I don't know if that's even on their radar, frankly, because Nigel Farage was only running for the position of MP in one small seaside town in Clacton. I just think their team is much smarter than who's that Democrat moron that's a paid shill that's about 18. Harry something.
Harry Sisson.
Oh, he's 21.
Yeah. Right. Well, there we go. I clearly underestimated him. I don't see innovative and intelligence behind that man's eyes. I see astroturfed, and that he can't get his own audience organically if you left him to his own devices.
Yeah, when he says how great Biden is, I'm like, I'm out. I tune
Yeah,
out.
he's like, haha, Joe Biden challenged Trump to a round of golf. Let's go. And then Trump's like, let's golf. And he's like, oh, that's so dumb. Why would you play golf, Joe Biden? Mm-hmm. Then Joe Biden issues a statement saying, I won't do it. And he's like, haha, he got you.
I mean,
like,
and is there any way to verify Harry Sisson's following demographics, right? I feel like he's kind of just courting all of the left boomers, by being like, look, I'm young and I like Biden. They're like, wow, this kid's so cool. Like, he's the actual influencer among young people. You see this on the right too, of course. I mean, this is kind of how influencer culture has gone on. But I think you're right. There's a level of so Axios had this article where he talked about the viral battlefield, and basically that there's a Silicon Valley pack that's formed to investigate why the algorithm works for conservatives or right-wing people better than it does for the left, which is hilarious because we all know all of Silicon Valley is biased to the left.
So we can articulate our points, in a comical and blunt and direct and honest fashion that resonates with popularly. It's not like some earnest, contrived, pleading where you have to. I mean, the left can't meme. First of all, they have no sense of humor. They're perpetually outraged, and I think like your average user, like your boomer user on Facebook, for example, or what have you, does not gravitate towards anger. They don't gravitate towards sort of this trenchant sort of like direct in your face thing. What you got to do is you get them to see what they entertainment or Hollywood figures, or I feel like the right was much more creative in the ways that they got around the gatekeepers in these social media companies, and we tricked them so many times, just trying to get our message out sincerely, but we were just too good, and so they had to drop the hammer.
It is interesting that the obstacle would actually encourage creativity in a way.
Yes, that's right. And every time they change it, me and some other guys, Benny Johnson, and some other people I work with, we'd always be, we'd have our little strategy session. Well, this is what the algorithm's doing now. We dig into the data, pull out what we need, and we're going to try this, we're going to do that, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And within it was only a few days after a new algorithm dropped, we got the secret sauce.
Yeah.
You're like the Mr. Beast of politics.
We did something like that.
I see those when I think of two young, dichotomous young men. I think of Harry Sisson and Nick Fuentes, the hard right and the hard left. I don't even like making examples of people, but like Harry just was like a goofball, whereas Nick is actually saying intellectual things, whether you agree with them or not. And so it's easy. I think it's more realistic to follow the intellect, no matter where it's coming from.
That's a great point,
Harry's
Ian.
a clown.
That's a great point, Ian, because what I found, when I was a chief editor, with IJR and everything, that what worked really well is we were trying to be reasonable. You know, and I actually, like, a lot of the hard right didn't like the website that I did because we were just too reasonable, you know, and eventually we would break leftists. They'd be like, you know, I really want to hate your content, but you guys are just so dang reasonable. You provide evidence, you know, you talk in a very approachable way. You're just explaining things. You kind of leave your point and let people make up their minds at the end of it. I don't see the left doing that at all. They just virtual signal. It's kind of like at the activist rallies. They just chant the same things in unison. I mean, there's nothing intellectual about that. The left stopped making arguments decades ago. They don't make any arguments. They're not about persuasion at all. They're about power and about deceit.
It's kind of like locking arms when people will lock arms, but they're locking minds. And they're like, we will not divert from our thought patterns. You cannot break through this thought pattern kind of mentality.
I find that stuff chilling.
I got to say about Harry Sisson, because Harry, I don't know you, and I'm sure you're a legit dude in reality. I'd love to hang out with you and have you on the show at some point.
That is unfair.
No thanks.
I don't want to widen the gap unnecessarily.
The dude just says whatever Biden says. Like, Biden could fart. He'd be like, yeah, go Biden.
And is he getting paid? Like,
so there's
won't
some,
admit it.
There's reports that he gets paid from like a consulting firm, and then the general explanation is that he'll play a semantic game where he goes, I do not get paid for my posts.
Right.
And then it's like, he's paid as an influencer, but not per post. So it's, but I don't know for sure exactly what his arrangement is.
Because for a young guy to get hard about Biden makes no sense.
That's why they need to hire people.
Well, people were intense about
faded.
Obama, right? I think a lot of young, precocious people get really into politics early on because there is an energy and excitement about it. And, you know, maybe they have grown up in Democratic families or conservative families where it's like, we're really invested in this and there's sort of a reward for it. But I think in a lot of cases in the influencer age, it's about getting eyes on you. And I think to your point, there is an abandonment of the need to persuade people. They're not two different ideas trying to win people over. I think conservatives tend to try to appeal to whatever, or how do we reposition or rephrase this argument so that this group of people is interested in it. With the left, it's really comply or get out.
Well, I think when you go to the roots of like modern leftism, like critical theory and identity politics, what you think reason will necessarily break down as a natural course of their own ideology. So they're breaking down reason in a way that you get with these intersectionality. You get all these contradictions. The cognitive dissonance is off the charts with these people. And so when you try to make a reasonable or rational argument with them, it doesn't cut through all of these layers of dogma that they have, like walls, to stop you from making your reasonable point. Basic logic breaks down with their world.
This is, I think, a generational divide.
Okay.
There is no reason on TikTok. It's all vibes. It's all politics by vibe. No, it is. This is the only word that you can do for it. It's aesthetic. It's thumos. It's energy, right? And okay, contrast Joe Biden, who's dying in front of us, with Donald Trump, who looks like he's having fun, or Jordan Bardella, or Nigel Farage. Like, which of these interchangeable suits who can't go off script is compelling to a young man who wants someone to look up to and someone to have a laugh with? None of them.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.